Mike, check. Justin Hunt, it's all happening. Thank you to everybody rocking with the channel. Thank you to everybody subscribed through the channel, who shared a video, shared a link, share what we're doing over here. It's priceless. Big thank you to everyone who's donated. If you'd like to donate, you can hit the Cash App that's right up there, or you can hit the link in the description. And big thank you to all my newest members: John David Rivera, Alex Parashow, Ronald Ross, Atex, Just Brandon, AC130, CJ Kid 1231, Thomas Krishman, Pam Nee 1955, that was a good year, Kenyatta 5TC, Bucktooth, Farah Peter, 9-second applause. Thank you. As a reminder, if you guys are interested in joining this community, there's also a link in the description on how to become a member. I am blessed and highly favored. It is an exciting day. The sun is shining. It might be the first time I've really been up with the sun shining for the past week. Feeling a whole lot better. 1-second applause to me. Now, last night I did my recap reaction to Kendrick Lamar's performance. Thank you guys for watching it. So today I wanted to review a lot of the theories and symbolism that have come out of this performance. You know, one of the things that's always tough about reactions is you miss stuff. And with artists like Kendrick Lamar, who live in metaphor so much, same thing with Lupe. You know, a lot of my favorite artists spend a lot of time in metaphor. The best part about it is sinking in it and finding new things and picking new things apart. So there's been a lot of discussion about this performance. And I think polarizing is still the right description. You know, I described yesterday's in my video yesterday, I described this as this performance is going to be viewed as polarizing. I think that's still the case. And so let's take a look at a couple of reactions that are out there. A couple of people who put together really great synopses. Is that it? Synopses? 1-second applause. Of the symbolism of this performance. Let's jump right into it. Up first, I really thought this one was interesting. Now, this is a video that's gone viral. I will shout out Nicole's view because she's the one who put this on my radar. But let's take a look.
The halftime show wasn't supposed to be entertainment. It was a message laced with symbolism about our government and control. In the lyrics, the revolution about to be televised. Right time for the wrong guy. Kendrick.
That's how he opens up. So we remember that at the beginning of the show.
Warned the audience to pay close attention. Samuel L. Jackson dressed as Uncle Sam, a national personification of the United States, symbolizing our government and our military. Uncle Sam represents patriotism and national identity. But with Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam, Kendrick was making a statement. He was telling his people to get ready. The division of the American flag highlighted the division in America.
So I don't know if you guys can see that right there too. Here is the American flag. We talked about this yesterday. We'll talk about it some more today in this video. But he's pointing out this division here with Kendrick in the middle. And everyone has red and white and blue. And Kendrick sort of has a purple on. But he's, you know, if you look, these guys are looking to the left. These guys are looking to the right. So this is the symbolism he's talking about.
Division in America. The Crips dressed in blue. The Bloods dressed in red. Together, they symbolize our country coming together in unity. The stars and the stripes were divided, illuminating the division in America. Serena Williams' hands shone, lifting the people up. This was more than just a halftime show.
So again, this video has 2.3 million views. This is more than just a halftime show. I think, you know, we knew that there was a number of layers of symbolism in this when we were watching it. I'm pretty sure we're all very conditioned to Kendrick leaving a bunch of Easter eggs and side missions around with everything. And so here is sort of a macro look at the symbolism that's within this performance. I think one of the things that stands out here is that this is more than just a show. It was a statement. Okay, so here's another one. This one's actually from Corey Bush. This picture here, you can take a look. This is the American flag, and everyone has their hands on each other's backs. All right, so here's how Corey Bush described it. From 1619 to 1865, the U.S. benefited from over 220 million hours of unpaid, dehumanizing forced labor by enslaved Black people per scholars. This labor, primarily the production of tobacco, rice, sugar, and cotton, would be valued at over $97 trillion today, built off the backs. So that was what this American flag here was all about. The American flag built off the backs of Black people. That's a powerful image. All right. Here are some symbolism that Kendrick lyrics notice. Per Kendrick lyrics, here's Kendrick again. This is just a close-up image that we saw a second ago of the divided American flag. Samuel L. Jackson, dressed as Uncle Sam, symbolizes a government figure attempting to control Kendrick Lamar or the Black community, labeling him as reckless, ghetto, or too loud. We talked about that yesterday in yesterday's video. When he openly expresses his thoughts and emotions through songs like Squabble Up, Man at the Garden, and Humble. However, he receives praise for a more subdued performance of All the Stars and Luther featuring SZA with the remark, yes, that's what America wants, nice and slow. Yeah, we talked about that too. So he was upset when Kendrick was boisterous and loud and being himself and representing for his community. But when he was nice and calm, that's what America really wants. And so that's part of the broader symbolism. Samuel L. Jackson is pivotal to this performance. He really does guide the audience through the set changes and the changes to the next songs, sort of the ringmaster of this whole endeavor. Red, white, and blue. An all-Black group of male dancers used their bodies to form the American flag. Lamar stood at the center, visibly splitting them, making a statement about the nation's current divisions. He addressed the audience saying, the revolution is about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy. 1 second applause. With the GNX in the background, that's kind of crazy. I mean, the clown car aspect of the GNX, when everyone just starts jumping out of the vehicle, this has to be a fake GNX. There's no way they used a real GNX to do this. This must be a model that was created. But that was a fire intro to the entire performance. Serena Williams, Sea Walking. No need to overthink this one. Serena Williams is Drake's ex dancing to a diss song, calling him a PDF. Now, one of the things that stands out about the staging was that it was set up like a video game controller, had an X, square, triangle, circle, like a PlayStation controller. And so Jeremy Heck pointed out in his video, during Peekaboo, where you have Kendrick performing inside of a giant X, then you have Serena in this video, and she represents one of Drake's exes. And there's another X, I think, that shows up, and SZA. SZA performs, and she's one of Drake's exes as well. So that's XXX. That's Jeremy Hecht. He's not sure if he's reaching, but it's another reminder that there is allusions to the connection between Drake and XXXTentacion. 1 second applause. Game Over. I want to perform their favorite song, but they love to sue. That still was one of my favorite lines of last night. Alluding to Drake's lawsuit over Not Like Us, then he doubled down with, they tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. By the end of the performance, the message was clear. Lamar's final words, game over. And so this is what that looked like. There's so much more, but I'll save that for another time. From this performance, one thing is clear. Kendrick Lamar isn't here to pacify anyone. He delivers raw authenticity, no matter who may be uncomfortable. These are just my opinions and could be wrong. I mean, that's pretty much what all these theories are. All these theories are until we hear it from the horse's mouth, which to me is the funnest part of all of it. 1 second applause. Now, I'm reminded of Kendrick's interview with Timothée Chalamet. They did a sort of a training day ride-along interview with the NFL, if I'm not mistaken, leading up to his Super Bowl performance. And one thing there was a moment in the first video where they talked about how he has gotten to the point in his career where he doesn't have to bury the album cut towards the end of the project. He can start maneuvering, positioning his own projects the way he wants to. He doesn't have to necessarily follow quintessential rules for how to maximize streams on a project, right? It's one of the reasons why Man at the Garden was closer to the front of the album than where normally it might be at the end of the album. And a lot of this performance kind of feels like that too. You know, like this album, this performance to me feels like him saying, again, I can do whatever I want. And so he put together this multi-layered performance that people are still picking apart, you know? So one second applause to that. All right, storytelling. Here's another one. Here's another theory I like out here. Storytelling. Kendrick just performed on 4 stages that look like X, square, X, triangle, circle. In that order, the lights in the crowd show a loading bar going to 100, and the halftime show, the game, begins. Square stage, GNX teaser snippet, squabble up. Uncle Sam Jackson complains he's being too reckless and ghetto, and what Kendrick imagines America would think about what he just performed. Then Kendrick goes into Humble and DNA, his biggest hits on the set list, in the middle of the full stage, seemingly to appease Uncle Sam. Camera then pans to a crowd. Warning, wrong way. So this was another, messaging that showed up in the audience with the lights. I didn't mention this in my video before, but this is pretty interesting. So you can see how he goes from the GNX teaser and squabble up, and the messaging in the crowd is like, warning, wrong way. You're not doing it right. X stage, Peekaboo. I can't believe he performed this at the Super Bowl. Me neither. One second applause to Peekaboo. Shout out to Thought Crimes. They actually just dropped another video analyzing their Peekaboo theory, which is their Peekaboo theory. No matter who is telling you, people are only talking about this because of the work that Prince and Sin have done on this. So shout out to them for that. But they just dropped another video today on social that really talks about some of the nuances of this and how it pertains and connects to X. I'll put a link in the description for you guys to check out. But I couldn't believe they were performing Peekaboo at the Super Bowl either. Peekaboo teases Not Like Us. I want to play their favorite song, but you know they love to sue. Triangle stage, Luther with SZA. Circle stage, All the Stars with SZA. Pan to Uncle Sam saying he liked those songs. Nice and calm, don't mess this up. Kendrick interrupts. Now, this was an important line yesterday that I didn't mention the full quote from. I only mentioned a portion of the quote. This is probably the most important quote. It says, "It's a cultural divide. I'ma get it on the floor. 40 acres and a mule." 40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music. They tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. 40 acres and a mule at a Super Bowl with President Trump in the house on the week that they just decided not to have end racism in the end zone. 1 second applause. Then goes into Not Like Us with Serena walking on her ex's diss track. Then turns his TV off with TV off. The crowd says game over. And here's that image again that I said we're going to see for the rest of our lives. Say Drake. Forgot to add that after the warning wrong way, Kendrick performs Euphoria and The Man in the Garden. Before Uncle Sam complains again, Uncle Sam hates rap. Anywho, I made this little mashup too. I'm not mad at you. Nice job, Bloomy. 1 second applause. All right. This one I didn't think about until I didn't think about this one at all till today. So this is from Abby for the People. Here's what Abby says. People saying Kendrick Lamar should have used the halftime performance to make a statement like he didn't have the same dancers who made up the American flag collapse into 100 individual swastikas. Look at this image. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention around here in America, but we got a whole lot of swastikas showing up. We got Sig Heils showing up on Inauguration Day. And it looks like all of that wasn't lost on Kendrick Lamar, because if you take a look, everyone is laying on the ground in a swastika type like shape. I mean, this is extremely powerful and extremely subtle imagery there. But look at that. Red and blue and white, and they're all laying in the same position like human swastikas. 1 second applause. Now, one thing I was critical of, not necessarily me being critical, but one of the reasons why I described this as a polarizing show is because there's a lot of people who are going to sit there and look at this and say this is not the conventional, quintessential Super Bowl performance that we all expect. This was a very subversive performance. I describe this as like it's the Last Jedi of Super Bowl performances. Last Jedi Super Bowl performances. And a lot of people in the comment section have pointed out that, well, you know, Kendrick is also on PG Lang. He has his control of his music now. So why, when he put his new music at the Super Bowl, why would he toss back to music that wasn't fully owned by him? There's other people who pointed this out. And Kendrick's performance for Super Bowl 2022 honored Good Kid, Mad City and To Pimp a Butterfly. Kendrick's performance for Super Bowl 2025 honored Damn and GNX. He was intentional about not giving the same experience twice while showcasing his roots in both. Great point. 1 second applause. So perhaps that's the reason why we don't see Money Trees on here, or we don't see I Love Myself, or we don't have All Right, or King Kunta, perhaps, you know, because he performed those songs during his 2022 performance along with Dr. Dre. But I do think that is a very good reason to detour, along with the fact that the new album is on his own label. Couple stats. This stat was is something that is actually pretty crazy. This is a pretty crazy stat. Now, I mentioned yesterday that when I was rewatching the performance, I was watching it on the NFL channel, and they took it down for some reason for a second. They took it down. Now, clearly they put it back up because Kendrick Lamar's Apple Music Super Bowl halftime show has surpassed the 20 million views mark in less than 20 hours. 20 million views in 20 hours. For perspective, the Usher halftime show that was in a record-breaking year for audience in the Super Bowl is sitting at 32 million views and less than 600,000 likes. 1 second applause. That's crazy. 20 million views in less than 24 hours. It's a polarizing show, but people are checking it. People are watching it. People are watching it. You know, I think the show was also particularly designed for those of us viewing at home. There's a saying in battle rap, there's a difference between being in the room and then watching the battle later on the playback. It's a big difference a lot of times between being in the room and then watching the battle online, watching it later. I'm not sure how this show would have translated to those in the stadium. I mean, especially parts where he's just walking in the circle. Say, Drake, I hear you like him young when he's doing Not Like Us. A lot of that internal camera work inside the X's. He wasn't necessarily performing for the stadium that much. And perhaps that's why there's also a lot of people who have clips of people in the crowd saying, what is this? This is garbage. What kind of show are we even watching? Well, the show wasn't necessarily built for the stadium. But 20 million views in 20 hours. 1 second applause again. Jamal Crawford. I liked what Jamal Crawford had to say. The only artist I've ever seen play the Super Bowl and not do all their hits. Thinking different. Kendrick, respect, bro. Here's Jamal Crawford with a throwback picture of K-Dot. Looks like this is probably Good Kid, Mad City. And Top Dog. Curtis King. The reason Kendrick's performance was likely underwhelming and mid to you is likely the same reason NASCAR is boring to me. I'm not the intended audience, and that's okay. But you never see me go out of my way to make sure NASCAR fans knew my unsolicited opinion. 1 second applause. I mean, I think this speaks to a lot of the overall feedback. Again, the polarizing nature of this performance. There are a lot of people who just really feel like overall it was mid. Now, regardless of the layers of symbolism and whatnot that went into this show, again, at the beginning, we watched that video and he said, this wasn't about entertainment. This was about a message. And that's something that I think everybody can understand and respect to a degree, or at least to a certain point. But there's also going to be a lot of people who just want to be entertained. They just want to be entertained. Now, I love the show. Again, you guys heard my description of it. But Curtis's point here does speak to the polarizing nature. Hey, I'm not a NASCAR fan. I'm not going to tell y'all who y'all should and shouldn't perform. Now, the argument is football is the biggest sport, and everyone feels like they're a part of it. You know, there's entire towns in America that only have a high school football team, and they live and die by that high school football team. 1 second applause. Varsity Blues, you know what I mean? But that is another point here. There was someone else who quoted, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. It was some red team politician said, this is the worst Super Bowl ever. And Homeboy said, yo, man, NASCAR's sitting right there. Why don't you go craft a NASCAR performance? Nobody watches that stuff, though. Here's Euro Garrett down here. Shout out to Euro. As an individual who loved the performance last night, I also love NASCAR. It's a super challenging sport, too, once you learn the ins and outs. So no shade to NASCAR. 1 second applause. Over on Boxden, shout out to BX. Boxden, my favorite forum. On BX, this was posted by Eclectic. He has a quote from Willie D. Willie D from Ghetto Boys. People who thought Kendrick Lamar's halftime show was boring probably used their brain half the time, if that. The man was out there delivering a whole socio-political sermon, speaking on revolution, oppression, and the state of the world. And they were sitting there like, where the fireworks at? Where the fireworks at? Kendrick wasn't just putting on a show, he was putting folks on game. But some people's attention span is shorter than a TikTok clip. So if it ain't flashing lights and gimmicks, they miss the message completely. It's like giving a smartphone to a caveman. No matter how advanced it is, he's still going to use it as a rock. Yeah, 1 second applause. Shout out to Willie D and all the good folks over at Boxden. Now, Kanye West. I have not spoken on Kanye's last 96 hours yet. No, I have not talked about this yet. I have a lot of ideas, a lot of thoughts around this, especially since I was at Kanye's post-Grammy party. Kanye went on what people are calling, his worst Twitter rant over the past few days. A lot of old hits, going back into the anti-Semitism, ballpark, back to being a billionaire, talking junk about poor people. Some of the old hits. I don't know how well they're aging, but nevertheless, it was a days-long affair of Twitter rants. And he was very critical. I don't want to say critical, but he sounded like he was critical of Kendrick on a few of those posts. So a lot of people are, starting to think Kanye is jealous of Kendrick. Kendrick is being celebrated for his art. He's being revered at the highest levels of creativity in the industry. He took out Drake. Kanye West gave a statement about what he thought about Kendrick's performance. Here's Ye.
So, a few people have been asking me, like, what did you think of the Kendrick halftime show? And I really loved the show.
I couldn't believe he said that, by the way. He said, I really loved the show. I'm surprised he said that.
My favorite halftime show since, like, a Michael Jackson era, which I kind of just barely remember. I just be seeing clips of it. And it was super simple. The flag was fresh.
He said it was his favorite show since the Michael Jackson era.
When they did Be Humble, the way that people's heads was moving, I was just like shook. This is like super fresh, right? The man's voice control, all that. And, of course, they built up the controversy on whether he's going to do the record. And then at the end, I saw people saying, like, this is the worst halftime show. And I'm just like, everybody I know that I talked to in real life said this is the best halftime show. And so this is my point right here. When I say one man's in jail, one superstar, one black superstar is in jail. The next black superstar is on stage. They take one rapper to take another rapper down. You got to remember, watch this. It's like Drake was almost like the new generation R. Kelly. The way R. Kelly had the radio and the smash and all that type of stuff. And then the idea that was put out in the Kendrick song is what R. Kelly is actually locked up for. Now, this information is out here. This could be used, right? And, they give Kendrick everything. He wins everything. Then he does this amazing Super Bowl commercial. I mean, not commercial, I'm sorry. Forwarding slip, shout out, go to easy.com. I didn't do that on purpose. He does this amazing Super Bowl performance, and right after they say it's the worst Super Bowl performance. And I'm like, yo, this is what I've been saying. They use black people against each other, and when they're done with what their agenda is, they're going to kick you out. That's my perspective on it.
That's Kanye West's perspective on it. 1 second applause. Or Ye, the artist formerly known as Kanye West. I think it's interesting considering how pivotal Ye was in the elimination of Drake, quote unquote, so to speak. And now he is describing the system as using black men against each other. Kanye has ejected himself. Ye has ejected himself from that system years ago and still found a way to participate in the elimination of Drake. We'll see how that evolves. But those are Ye's thoughts. Let me know what you think about Ye's thoughts here. And I'm still surprised that he said that this is the best performance since Michael Jackson. I actually expected him to be a lot more critical, just given the nature of his Twitter rants over the weekend, which I will address at some point. A lot of criticism, a lot of critique. But this one's actually really funny. I thought this post was hilarious. Matt Bender, way funnier than the conservatives who hated Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show are the conservatives who thought he was doing the ultimate patriotic ode to America. Look at these series of tweets. Emily Austin, we went from kneeling during the national anthem to a halftime show showcasing USA flag colors. We are so back. We are so back. Emily loves it. All right, Emily, I'm glad. I'm with you, Emily. A few years ago, they were endorsing burning the USA flag, and now Samuel L. Jackson is Uncle Sam at the Super Bowl. Hollywood is desperately trying to get America to pay attention to them again. I mean, it's Curtis had this funny Curtis King. He had a funny reaction to Drake's Family Matters video. I always laugh in my head about. He said, anytime in the Family Matters video, it looks like Drake is losing everybody. He starts holding some chains up. Here's some chains. Here's something shining and spinning. That's almost what, the flag in certain imagery is like to a large part of America. A large part of America. All you got to do is say, I love America, and then it's so easy to rob everyone blind. Hollywood is desperately trying to get America to pay attention to them again. Maybe they should watch this video of all the symbolism that's in here. Another way to take all of these things. We are so back. Finally, NFL joins in celebrating U.S. flag instead of disrespecting during halftime. Pardon me if he said something offensive, but the flag display by the performers was amazing. I didn't pay attention to the lyrics. Built off the backs of slaves. Finally, a non-woke satanic halftime show. Kendrick Lamar is showing off the American flag. I love this. 1 second applause. Maybe that speaks to the effectiveness of this performance. Like, he was able to completely undress our modern political system, the state of affairs in this country. Lean heavily into the fact that this country was built on the backs of free labor. They refused to pay that debt, a $97 trillion debt they refused to pay. And people are like, this is great. We got flags. 1 second applause. Serena Williams got a lot of criticism too. Serena caught some criticism. Now, I didn't mention Serena yesterday. That it just slipped my notes. But that was a big moment. A huge moment was when Serena was sea-walking during the performance. Full Snack developer. For those of you who weren't outside, the media tore Serena to shreds for crip walking at Wimbledon. Her coming back to do a dance that references a culture she's actually a part of during a live performance, criticizing someone for being a culture vulture is chef's kiss. So this is the throwback to when Serena sea-walked at Wimbledon and people were very upset, right? Now, here's the spin that they've been putting on this. Here's Keep Six Solid. It's a Toronto blog. Serena Williams' sister was killed by Crips. Today, she was crip walking on live TV to get back at her ex Drake. Now, this was some sincere propaganda that was pushed. I saw this on 8 or 9 different pages, presented the exact same way. when I talk about the coordinated nature of a lot of the media that's around here, when I talk about the manosphere media was instrumental in getting Trump elected, it was galvanizing very influential pages this way. And this exact tweet was on Facebook, was on Twitter, was on Instagram from it presented the same way from so many different accounts. And it's making just the most obtuse bad faith point ever. Serena Williams' sister was killed by Crips. Today she's crip walking on live TV to get back at her ex Drake. I mean, this is the best Toronto blogs have to offer. Right. And I like this response. Serena don't gangbang. She's a civilian, and civilians don't do, oh, the Crips killed my family, so I hate them. Stay out of LA and Compton business. I mean, it's just like, oh my God, I had a family member who was hit in a car crash, who died in a car accident. Now I'm not going to drive anymore. Some things are a little outside of people's depths. Some conversations are outside of people's depths, but they're willing to dive in there for division and propaganda. I thought she did a great job. Let's look at Serena one more time. One second applause to Serena Williams. Norma granddaughter. I just thought this was a really great quote here. I described the whole Super Bowl almost as feeling like a protest with the way the Eagles destroyed MAGA Mahomes and them. This Super Bowl performance here with, and then you have the actual protest that happened where you had someone holding up a Sudan-Gaza flag. The protest was made, right? The whole thing felt like a protest. Well, here's what happened to the guy who pulled out the Sudan flag. According to the Associated Press, the NFL confirmed that the protester was a part of Kendrick's 400-strong field cast. However, the league added that no one involved with the production was aware of the individual's intent, and they hid the item on their person before unveiling it late in the show. Roc Nation, the Jay-Z founded entertainment company which produced the halftime show, also said that the move was neither planned nor part of the production and was never in any rehearsal. The man whose identity has yet to be revealed was eventually tackled by security and dragged away from the stage. The repercussions have been sharp and swift, with a spokesperson for the NFL announcing that the individual will be banned for life from all NFL stadiums and events. The New Orleans Police Department also said that they're working to determine applicable charges in this incident. Aside from the impromptu political protest, Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show made headlines for its many shots aimed at his arch rival, Drake. 1 second applause. So Homeboy was banned. He can't go to any NFL events. He wasn't charged. He didn't receive any criminal charges. And again, to me, it actually did fit with the theme of the performance, even if that was not planned. It did fit with the theme of the whole Super Bowl. It felt like a bit of a protest. But he was a part of the performance, and he had it on his person and whipped it out for the show. 1 second applause. And all of that brings me back to this tweet from Norma Granddaughter. The Super Bowl is in a black-ass city during Black History Month. It's only right that the black-ass QB with the black-ass fiance and black-ass agent and black-ass assistant coach who plays for the team based in a black-ass city secures the win after this black-ass halftime show. 1 second applause. That's a black and black tweet. 1 second applause. That's Norma Granddaughter. So again, the conversation around this show continues to move on. People are still talking about a lot of the symbolism that took place on those stages, I guess. And again, it's much deeper than just a typical Super Bowl performance. And now, again, it's clearly polarizing, but there's no way you can look at this performance and not say that there's not a lot of things to talk about. And especially the swastika point, I completely missed that. Let me know if there's anything that you guys have seen that really jumps out at you. I referred to the guys under the lamppost last night. Actually, I referred to them in two ways. I talk about how they look like New Orleans Cash Money imagery, which they kind of do. But then I also read a tweet that described them as guys from the Bay. And it's really a tribute to the Bay. It's really a tribute to the Bay. So thank you to everyone who pointed that out in the video yesterday. I appreciate you guys keeping me honest. Let me know if there's anything that you missed or that I missed. And, you know, from a symbolism standpoint in this performance, there was a whole lot going on here. And again, I think that this is one of those shows that people will talk about for a very long time. And I described it as brave yesterday, and looking at some of the symbolism that I didn't discuss in my initial reaction, it's even braver than I realized. My name is Justin Hunt. Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow the Company Man on everything. It's all happening.
Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping. Systematical culture views us radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dapping it. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, dog. You don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.